Are you ready to see him go from the Lakers?
Yeah.
When a former Lakers champion laughs at something LeBron James says, that's not just a reaction, that's a temperature check on the entire league. And that's exactly what happened when Byron Scott responded to LeBron, claiming that playing in today's NBA is harder than it was back in previous eras. Scott didn't go on a rant. He didn't attack LeBron personally. He simply said he thought the comment was laughable. And that calm dismissal carried serious weight, because when someone who battled through hand-checking, hard fouls, and physical playoff wars hears that today's game is tougher, there's going to be pride involved. Back then, spacing wasn't wide open. Defensive freedom was different. The game punished you physically, so when Scott hears that comparison, you can almost hear decades of experience pushing back. But that wasn't even the biggest moment of the interview. The real headline came seconds later. The host asked him directly, "Are you ready to see him go from the Lakers?" And no setup, no warning. And Scott answered, yeah. Just like that, that single word shifted the entire conversation from generational debate to organizational direction.
I've never heard one of the greatest say they were the greatest of all time. That was very interesting to me. Kevin, what are your thoughts?
Oof, man, you know what? It's one thing. We all sit at this table all the time and sing his praises.
Yeah.
I think LeBron is a great player.
Yeah.
I just think that's disrespectful, honestly, to Bill Russell. What did Bill Russell do? Won every time. He said, all right, fellas, you want to win? Come with me, we'll go on the floor. That's what this game's all about. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Now here's the part that people need to understand clearly. Scott did not say LeBron should retire. He didn't say LeBron can't play. He didn't question his greatness. He clarified it immediately, not in the NBA, just here. That's powerful. That's saying your career can continue, just not in Los Angeles anymore. And then he delivered the line that exploded across social media. You don't gotta go home, but you gotta go.
I just thought it was laughable, coming from one of the greatest players that ever played a game, to say that it's harder to play now than it was then.
Are you ready to see him go from the Lakers?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan, but I don't mince words either. I mean, I think this should be his last year here.
Not in the NBA, just here.
No, just here.
Okay.
I really.
You don't gotta go home, but you gotta go.
It's Moore's Day. You know what I'm saying?
That's
you don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here.
That wasn't disrespect. That wasn't hate. That was finality. And when a former Lakers head coach says something that direct, you have to ask why now. Because on paper, LeBron is still producing. He's still putting up elite numbers. He can still control a game. He can still shift a playoff series with his IQ alone.
What I meant
would be the.
I know what I said, but you know what I meant.
No, I don't.
Come on, man. You players pick it up.
0-5.
These bombs y'all be showing every week. Okay, LeBron, one of the greatest ever, can't give me 25 points. KD, one of the greatest ever, can't give me 25 points. Anthony Davis, 8 rebounds.
That's easy.
Devin Booker, 1 3. Are you kidding me?
Hey, LeBron, by the way, 3 threes away from passing Kyle Korver.
Ooh, Kyle Korver.
So this isn't about decline in the basic sense. This feels bigger than stats. This feels like control. And for years, the Lakers have revolved around LeBron's presence, coaching decisions, roster construction, trade targets, even the tempo of the offense. Everything flowed through him. And early on, that made sense. He delivered a championship in 2020. He restored national relevance. He brought star power back to Hollywood. But the Lakers as a franchise have never been designed to orbit one player forever. Magic's era ended, Kareem's era ended, Kobe's era ended, even Shaq's era ended abruptly, and each time the organization pivoted toward the future without hesitation, and that's the Lakers' DNA.
Yes.
Agree with Giannis.
Of course. Now look, if you want to say the GOAT status is solely based on rings, I don't have an argument because 6 is more than 4. But that's the only time you use that argument because Russell has more. There's several other Celtics that have more than 6, and you never include them in the GOAT discussion. But I believe LeBron James has played better longer than any other player in the history. And if you look at the teams that he's lost to, you tell me the team
So when Scott says this should be LeBron's last season in LA, it doesn't sound emotional, it sounds structural, it sounds like someone looking at the long-term picture instead of the short-term highlights. And here's another uncomfortable truth. There has always been a subtle tension between LeBron's global fan base and traditional Lakers loyalists. LeBron fans are loyal to LeBron first. Lakers fans are loyal to the franchise first. Those are not the same mindset. When LeBron makes era comparisons, Lakers legends hear it differently. When roster moves prioritize his timeline, longtime fans interpret that differently. When branding feels more player-centric than franchise-centric, that creates quiet friction. Byron Scott's laugh wasn't random. It reflected that deeper divide. Now let's talk timing. The Western Conference is getting younger and faster. The future contenders are building around players in their mid-20s. The financial flexibility of teams matters more than ever. Every roster move has long-term consequences. At some point, even legends can complicate long-term planning if the franchise can't fully commit to a new direction. And maybe that's what Scott sees. Maybe he's saying this isn't about disrespecting LeBron, it's about protecting the next phase of the Lakers. Because think about this, if LeBron leaves on his own terms, it looks powerful, it looks strategic, it looks like he closed the chapter when he chose to. But if the Lakers quietly begin transitioning away first, that changes the narrative completely. Scott's tone didn't sound bitter, it sounded resolved, like someone who believes the cleanest ending is better than a dragged out one. We've seen how awkward NBA endings can get, and legends staying 1 year too long, franchises hesitating to pivot, fan bases turning divided, media narratives getting messy. Scott might be saying avoid that scenario entirely, and let's dig even deeper. If LeBron leaves, where does he go? Does he join a contender looking for one final peak? Does he choose a city where the pressure is lower? Does he reunite with familiar management, or does he look for a storybook ending somewhere unexpected? Every possibility reshapes the league, but here's the bigger question. What does this mean for his legacy? LeBron's all-time ranking is already cemented in most conversations, but how his Lakers chapter ends matters. Does it end with one last playoff push, a dramatic exit, a quiet trade, or mutual separation? Because legacy isn't just about rings, it's about ending goals. And for the Lakers, this is equally critical. They cannot afford to drift. This franchise moves decisively. When it senses a new era, it pivots aggressively. That's what makes it different from most teams. Byron Scott understands that culture. He understands that the Lakers brand survives every superstar. The jersey remains iconic long after names rotate through it, so when he says you don't gotta go home but you gotta go, it sounds less like an attack and more like acceptance of timing. Now here's the twist nobody is fully ready to admit, and two truths can exist at once. LeBron can still be one of the most dominant basketball minds in the world, and it can still be time for the Lakers to move forward. If that's not disrespect, that's evolution. Scott just verbalized what many insiders likely discussed privately, and once that kind of statement hits the public space, it shifts the entire conversation. Every loss becomes heavier, every trade rumor gets louder, every contract detail gets scrutinized. Is this the final run? Is this the silent farewell season? Is the franchise preparing behind the scenes already? And because when a Lakers insider with credibility speaks that clearly, the message carries weight. This isn't about hating LeBron. This isn't about erasing what he accomplished in LA. It's about recognizing that even historic partnerships have natural expiration dates, and maybe, just maybe, Byron Scott believes that moment is now. The real question is, does the front office agree? And even bigger, does LeBron?